to the MLG Orlando Open 2016. I'm your host, Fox, and I'm joined by Paradox. We're getting into map number 2 between Team Infused and H2k Gaming. The first hardpoint ending in a very one-sided fashion. Infused was just not showing up. Score was, what, 250 to 88? Is that what we saw?
Yes.
You know, not a very good showing out of anyone on Infused other than PD. And H2k just had fears. No, not fears. Excuse me. Legal. Double positive with 3 minutes of hill time. Nobody was stopping him with the VMP. He was winning all of his close-range gunfights, which is what he was meant to do after the ban and protect phase went so heavily in their favor. We're seeing it again, though. The grip ban. Could we see another laser sight ban? I highly doubt it just because it says search and destroy. But what are your thoughts going on so far?
Well, right now, I'm thinking you need a better showing out of Infused, out of one of their worst game modes throughout all of Stage 2 of the Call of Duty World League, and you think Fringe, they're going to have to do something. This is a time, move away from Map 1, focus on Map 2. You have to get it done here in the Search and Destroy because this is an H2k squad that is very practiced at Search and Destroy. We always talk about Fizzerp, Dito, and especially Fears and Legal, what they were able to do in Stage 1 and Stage 2 as well. It's going to be a hard team to beat here.
To be fair, in Stage 1, they were mediocre at best. They were very shaky, up and down with their Search and Destroy. But Stage 2, they certainly did show some improvement for sure up until they decided to just, you know, not practice. But Infused, they have a player. His name is Zero. I'm not sure if you know this guy and his incredible sniping capabilities, so that could be a huge asset for them. I'm interested to see how this matchup goes getting into the specialist draft here.
I think flashing back, when you were talking about H2k, it's streaky, right? It's sort of like what we think of. Sometimes we see FaZe. They sort of rise to the occasion, show what they're really capable of. And then other times you're like, what's going on with this team? You expect to see more out of them. But now, specialist draft, we see Glitch on both sides. Marky B and Fizzerp going to pick up the overdrive. Kinetic Armor picked up by PD and Legal so far. And then, of course, this one's going to be a mirror match. Active Camo rounding things out. Yep,
Spectre's Active Camo there rounding out on both sides. One of the better specialist abilities in every game mode, really, and especially in Search and Destroy, you can do so much with it, putting that bomb down, or so much as just peeking a spot that you usually wouldn't peek, and they can't see you, get the jump on someone, really surprise them that way. But we're seeing Glitch on both sides, which is becoming more and more common, I've noticed, especially with how the bans and the bans and protects went for the specialist abilities. I think that we saw Heatwave get banned again. That was also banned in the hardpoint. So interesting to note there. But getting into the creative class here, expect to see some of the players running Dead Silence, expect to see a lot of... did Afterburner make it through? Were you able to see?
I believe so.
Okay, so we should see something like that. A lot of those mid-wall runs, some players like to look over into Junkyard. That could be big for the AR players going for those picks after, just post-plant more often than not.
You think you have someone set up on the power position in sort of the junkyard area up on the boxes. You go for that line of sight over the middle of the map. You see this wall on the left-hand side of your screen. That's something that you can use time and time again to take out a player in that position, especially you bring out something like a Shiva and MA able to one burst or two shot them. Very good play there to take one out and isolate.
I'm waiting to see Fizzer get in this lobby and do something crazy weird. I remember last time I saw him play, or one of the last times I saw him play on this map, he's running a PO6 with an ELO sight. So this man is wild. I would not be surprised to see him loaded in this lobby with clown shoes and a reindeer hat on and just and start 360 no scoping or something. I don't know. Fizz is a pretty crazy guy, and we do see a lot of the bans and protects go the way of whatever team he was on. I mean, we all like to reference when he was on Enigma 6. One of the bigger plays and one of the first plays that was made was the War Machine and Flak Jacket ban and everything like that. That was a great play by his team then when they were at Papillon Esports, facing off against E6, but score streaks here, expect everything to switch right over onto HCXD, Dart, just the lower costing score streaks that give you the most information and the most pressure against the other team as well, that make them sort of sit back and waste more time. We're not going to see anything like Wraith or anything, or Cerberus in Search and Destroy.
Also, Lightning Strike, very helpful in Search and Destroy.
For
even
sure,
when you
all
think
that information.
Of a map like Fringe, yeah, you bring it out over the B site, or you can put it in sort of the junkyard area as well, force them into the A site.
Yeah, zoning them.
It's going to be very interesting to see. And one thing I'm going to be watching out for Zero, you mentioned his sniper skills. Overdrive is on both sides. Might want to cut out the middle of the map, make sure Fizzerp, when he has that overdrive available, doesn't hop straight through mid into dub.
So watching Infused in their matchup against Rise at MLG Anaheim, they have a pretty interesting strat with Zero, where he would go for the wall run around the silo, check over mid, of course, you know, look for that opening pick, and then he'll wall run over towards Train. This is on their offensive side, so maybe we could see something like that with the next couple of rounds. And he has another site where he'll look over the shed towards mid, and it's just kind of something he does every single round. We're also seeing an XR2 in his hands while the M8 is still in play.
So, Zero, I want to hop on board with you, brother. Yeah, the XR2, and we see sort of a bunch of standard B push coming out here, but Zero.
There it is. This is one of his angles he likes to use to look over the shed.
All right, not spawning anything just yet. Of course, the bomb was picked up by PD. On the other side, Fizz did have Thermal SVG out. Looks like he hasn't been able to spot much. Of course, not many players from Infused really showing themselves. Over by Trax, we're just going to watch this one, and I love the patient play so far from Infused. What you want to do, you want to isolate a player on H2k, take them out, and right now Legal is pretty much in a prime position for the one to be isolated.
So H2k opting for a 1-2-1 setup, the 3-0-1 push from Infused here. They're just making staggered pushes up through Train. Just trying to check all their corners, but they're spotted. Dito finds him with the Shiva. He knows he just needs to play defensive, play for more information, let his team rotate over to the B bomb site, tags up a few. That's going to give them some time to collapse on it. Fears finds the first blood. PD falls to Dito's Shiva, and H2k is responding perfectly to Infused's push.
Now look at this, Marky B all the way around the map, taken out by Legal, so that leaves Zero up. Of course, we start the round with Zero. Looks like we're going to end it with him as well. Slides in, tries to clean it up with the pistol. Fear shuts him down. Strong first round on the side of H2k.
Very sloppy offensive round there coming from Infused. First off, we saw Zero fail his wall run and thrust towards mid-map to try and look over the shed. He usually hits the house, but he ended up hitting the Train side this time, and it just didn't work out for him very well. He couldn't use his thrust well enough to do that. Fears winning that engagement in small room with the RK5. We saw Zero miss every burst. So, got to expect this Infused roster to heat up. This is a very strong team, one of the best in Europe, of course. Can't count them out just yet.
All right, I want to check Fizz. Once again, he does have the sniper rifle out. Let's see if he's able to find a pick early on. Of course, no one for Infused going into the top barn, but we see the 1-3 setup coming out on the side of Team Infused. Urban's going to be the only one watching down behind that back rock towards the track side. Meanwhile, look at the position from Dito. They worked their way through 10. It looks like there's an engagement going on in just a second. PD's right outside.
All right, Dito just waiting for someone to, oh, there we go. He spots one just as he turned away, but fires the burst to take out the trophy system. And I think he's just trying to serve as a bit of a distraction, but all four of his teammates are over here. Not sure how they're going to capitalize on this. I don't think they might have seen anyone else. I think they just saw Dito, or at least heard Dito, and they're not sure what the play looks like. So that could be some solid misdirection coming from H2k as a sniper rifle shot is cracked off in mid-map.
It looks like they spotted Marky B as well, and they didn't know it was there. They definitely know now. Looks like Dito's going to be able to pick up the first blood, isolate him, take him out. There's still two players from Infused over there threatening. That's PD and Zero. Meanwhile, Urban still on this back rock. And it looks like H2k is going to try and force the occasion over at B.
I would have liked to see Marky B jiggle peek that corner because he slid over to it without even looking. And he, obviously, Dito was just there pre-aiming the whole time and was able to shut him down. So Legal wins another gunfight against Urban. Nothing going on in the corner of Infused so far. No kills in their favor. PD has to clutch a 2v4 with Zero. Zero's trying to find one kill. There it is with the XR2. Another one coming from Train. Has him in his sights, but has to reload. And it's against the sniper. He doesn't want any part of that at all.
So Zero looks like he would be able to get the
angle. Good angle.
Comes down. Still not able to clean this one up. Come on, Zero.
Oh,
there we go.
Goodness.
But the thing, all the misses, of course, you talk about time in Call of Duty. A fraction of a second can make so much of a difference. When you're missing shots like that, expect the player on the other team, when you're not the one that has the advantage, come around on easy pinch. That's exactly what we see Dito and H2k set up for there to win the round.
To be fair, I don't think he expected that sniper to be that close to him. I thought that I even thought that he was going to back up and play the Train angle on the head glitch rather than be that close up on the generator and possibly get jumped on. But you know, and obviously PD didn't see that coming either. So 2 kills going, or Zero, excuse me. Zero finds 2 kills that round, the only ones on the board for all of Infused. Let's just see how they can handle their offensive round this time, as it looks like it's a middle map play. Marky B with a sub in his hands, not something you usually see, but in Search and Destroy game modes, things like this can happen. An empty A bomb site. Infused, of course, does not know that yet. Fizzerp finds the first blood. They spot Marky B, and it looks like their plans are foiled as H2k is sending a 3-man rotation, and Zero finds a kill on Dito, though.
Legal has to back up. Marky B did try and go for the push. Fears cleans him up. So now 3-2 man advantage in favor of H2k. PD spotted and taken out. Once again, for the 3rd round in a row, Zero is the last hope for Infuse. Him and his XR2 going to try and get the job done in the 1v3.
This is a very, very well tactically played match so far coming from H2k. They're responding and reacting and reading everything Infused is trying to do, and they're just shutting it down. Not only that, Infused, they're not winning their gunfights, and when they do tag a player up, H2k is able to come through and trade before the death even happens.
So now you see, of course, H2k knows the bomb is down. Zero only has 20 seconds to work with. See Legal is going to be the closest one, pretty much on top of the bomb as the other two players for H2k. Stack up inside of 10. They know Zero's here now. Legal comes out easy. Clean up with the submachine gun. That's 3 in a row for H2k.
Interesting choice from Zero to use the XR2 here. It obviously didn't have much of a difference in this situation, but I'm kind of curious to what his reasoning is. After a lot of the nerfs the XR2 is experienced, and with the inmates still being in play in this match, you got to wonder why he's using it now. I know Zero is very popular for exploring the meta a bit, I guess we could say. I think that we saw him use a KN44 at MLG Anaheim. He really likes to go through the entirety of the weapon class, but I don't see it making too big of a difference with the XR2 versus the M8. Fizzerp, though, popping that overdrive, moving towards Junkyard, hoping to get the jump on one player. He might find 2 or 3 around the corner, though. Doesn't look like they saw him, finds him. He's in his face with the, with the Pharaoh, and he finds a kill on it, pre-firing for the next, but no one's home. And Fizzerp lives to fight another battle.
Looks like Marky B might be the next one in line. Has one player coming over the box, showing himself. Marky B's going to try and line up the shot with the AR. Just going back and forth. Of course, this bomb is now down at A. H2k have complete control of middle map and on the site, but Zero able to open up a hole, takes out Dito.
One player just around the corner inside Dub. Marky B smelling blood. He knows he's there, but 1 in 10 reads it and reacts, but cannot do anything as Fizzer pinches. Legal, though, is still going to fall to Urban. He's just staying alive with the Pharaoh here. This is a very good weapon for a gunfight like this. If he's going to have a sub, wins it, but he's traded by Zero, who goes over for the defuse. He has 17 seconds to do so. That's a round win on the board for Team Infused.
And now Zero will have his active camo to work with as well. So a lot of the utilities starting to come into play on the side of Team Infused for H2k. They used the overdrive that round. It really didn't have the impact I thought it was going to have from Fizz. Of course, he gets the early control in Dub. They end up getting the bomb down as well. But it comes down to this last engagement. Honestly, I really like the play from Infused, just collapsing on the one player from 2 different angles, able to clean up the easy kill.
I think Fizz played that round very well. He got his first blood, then he stayed alive. He was able to fight the player in 10, and then he was also able to pinch and get a 3rd kill from Dub.
The part that I'm talking about is more the way H2k played around it. So you have that player go in, they get control of the site. Great play, use of the overdrive there. But it ends up coming back to hurt them with some of the positioning they had around the site. You saw Infused was able to clean up one, like right after the first blood comes in. In that situation, we have control of the site like that. It's not something you really want to lose that early. But now we see Zero going to pop the active camo, tries to pick it up.
Whiffs on
and
Dito.
Picks up the first blood.
Yeah, you can't miss XR2 shots like that. That's a huge wasted opportunity, especially because he knows Dito's playing this spot. This has been the spot Dito's been playing at almost every defensive round when they set up over here with the Shiva. So that's going to be a waste. Dito still has his camo, didn't even have to use it. He's just on an easy head glitch. And Infused has to play a man down for the rest of this round.
No, Marky B looks like he's going to try and spot someone for H2k. But his teammate Urban did try and go for a push. Fears took him out very fast. I believe that is Fizzerp. In top, there we go, connects with the sniper. As I move over to him and cleans up both of them, not missing with the sniper or the pistol, and that's 4 now for H2k.
Fizzerp is running circles around this team. Look at that. Picks him off, hits the wall run, finds the 2nd kill on the player he knew was coming to trade him. Great plays out of Fizz so far. 0 kills on the opposing side from Marky B. You got to expect someone like him to step it up. We also still only have 1 kill on the board for PD and Urban. This is not looking very good for Infused so far, but let's jump on board with the H2k guys and see what is going well for them on their offensive side.
Civ glitch, active camo. Fizz has the overdrive again, comes right through 10, the exact same play, and this time PD shuts it down. That kill immediately traded. Legal almost gets the Simtex to go in their favor, but I like the setup from Infused here. You see Marky B set up in the middle of the map. You have Zero here watching the alleyway, waiting for someone for H2k to peek. Get a little bit out of position, sees the nade coming in, very clear, just has to back up. You think Marky B might go for the push as soon as Urban has a little bit more room to work with.
It's 3v3 and we're seeing specialist abilities get activated. This is looking heavily in H2k's favor because they have the utility of their abilities. Dito finds a kill on Zero. Now they have the number advantage. That's what camo does for you. Legal with the bomb, trying to move over towards this site and get it down as Dito is getting into position. He just loves this back rocks area. This is where he's comfortable. You know, Dito's obviously feeling comfortable on this H2k squad. Now he's able to run an AR again.
Now, look at this. Breaking that down a little bit, you think Infused, when they were set up in that position, would go and collapse. It ends up being H2k that sort of forced the occasion. Takes out Zero. Infused answer right back. Marky B and Urban. Urban picks up 2. Marky B with 1. The patient play once again from Marky B. I mentioned it in game number 1. I believe it was Zero that time who just sat in a corner and waited for the team to go around him, then comes up from behind, the exact same thing this time. Urban cleans up 2, he picks up 1, and that's a round win in their favor.
Urban's patience and game sense in train rewards him for those 2 kills and a round win for Infused. They needed that after all the specialist abilities that were spent by H2k. Infused just fought their way right back into this game. Despite the score being 2-4, they certainly could run away with, they certainly could grab this lead and take a win.
Now we see Infused. Of course, Zero has the sniper. There is someone in top bar, but he's not showing himself yet. Meanwhile, this bomb gonna be in the hands of P as they're fighting their way. Oh my, through the junkyard.
There it is. Fizzerp staring into the clouds, rewards the team yet again. Finding that early nade, Zero is able to respond with a snipe onto Dito, so both teams responding with picks. Urban though, looking over mid-map here, trying to spot a player. It looks like all of H2k is congregating around that A bomb site and they're pushing through 10. I don't think either team has any idea where the other team is at.
Fizzerp's trying to get an idea. He has
they might have heard that fall.
Rifle. Might have, but once again, a patient play coming out of Zero. Of course, he has the sniper rifle, but H2k is right behind him. Fizzerp comes up behind with the sniper rifle, the easy kill, makes him pay for it. Now the numbers advantage in favor of H2k, 3-2.
Urban sitting pretty, got that bomb down, waiting for it to detonate, and H2k comes through mid-map for the rotation, hoping for the retake. Legal, though, is able to find a kill on the Marky B. Urban finding the next gunfight against an H2k member, but there will be 2 just around the corner. Wins 1, pops glitch, traded. Fears is there for the pinch, and that's going to be a round win for H2k as he goes for the defuse.
Once again, textbook pinch on the side of H2k. The glitch almost saves him. He's like, okay, I picked up 1, I got away. Didn't expect to be Fears just right behind him with the easy cleanup kill with the pistol. Of course, that one diffused as well. And this is, you think map 1 doesn't look good, map 2 not looking good for Infused either.
Well executed glitch right there, but this has just been the story so often for a lot of these rounds coming from H2k. It's just how well they've been able to pinch and execute on plays and work alongside one another for these trades. And just another round win for them, another round in the bag there. So, and H2k is looking on pace to just close it out this next round. Zero is pulling out the sniper rifle, though. Let's see how much of an impact he plays this round, as Fizzerp is also on the other side with his SVG, and he's been a huge factor this map.
It looks like Marky B has hit the middle of the map for Infused, going to try and get some early positioning done. Also, inside of Infused, that's PD who's worked his way into an interesting position as well. Marky B now spotted, called out, and Fizzerp ends up getting a team kill on Dito. Not going to matter, though. This one's still going to be 3v3, and Legal bomb carrier here. And where exactly is PD hanging around? Okay, he's saying hi here. Has spotted the player, shots being traded back and forth. No one going down just yet. You think for here, Urban is one that is going to be able to spot any sort of rotation that comes out of H2k if the call is made.
Excellent wall running right there from PD, just playing for that camera, trying to get an angle on the opposing player around the corner in 10. Legal, though, playing through that A-bomb site. Knows there's a player in 10, finds the first couple of bullets. PD's still worrying about the player at back silos, and he's going to get taken down and punished for it. 3 versus 1. Urban, his lifeline, for his team is all in his shoulders, and he's not able to hit the 1v3 clutch. H2k closes out map number 2, 6-2.
Wow. So we thought H2k would be able to take the S&D. Didn't think they'd be able to take the respawn. Now, with them up 2-0 in this series and moving to Uplink on Infection, does H2k come out strong here and get the 3-0 to start on MLG Orlando?
I don't think any of us would have expected it at all. I'm pretty sure that Infused actually 3-1 to H2k at MLG Anaheim. A lot of us might have expected the respawns to be no issue at all, but they lose on their best map in game mode, and they lose in Search and Destroy, which is where we would expect H2k to kind of come up. I can't say that I expect them to do too well in this uplink. They're not looking good at all right now. They got to get warmed up. They got to get in the mindset of that they are Infused. They are one of the best European teams right now. They've been teaming together for so long, and they're facing off against a roster that just lost one of their best players. They should really come out firing right here and win this series, but it's not looking good for them.
That's a rough game for Marky V as well. He ends up going 1-7 in game number 1 or in game number 2 in that Search and Destroy. Game number 1. Really, I think it was only PD that stood out as much for them, but you think going into game 3, this one's going to be interesting.
Yeah, going into game 3 here for the uplink, I'd say H2k is a decent uplink team. They're definitely not spectacular, not the top tier. But if they're this confident, going off of that hype, these are guys that live together and play together in the H2k gaming house. You got to imagine that energy and that confidence has got to be, they got to be riding that momentum, right? Going into map number 3 here. And it's pretty interesting because I don't know, I feel like they didn't seem too confident coming in this tournament, just coming from what you've heard and from what I've heard and, you know, from players talking and from their demeanors on stream and everything. They're looking pretty good on day one so far.
And that's kind of what you want to see from a squad. Of course, you have that core 3, 1 swapped out, and you think one thing that stood out to me a lot on the side of this H2k team is their synergy, their communication, right? Being able to set up for the picks, being able to set up for trades, being able to go on flanks and pick up players as well. It's really helped them out so far.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of their trades have been very well executed throughout the entire Search and Destroy here. Getting into the Infection, though, it's going to come down to a lot of map control with the assault rifles around mid-map, around those sandbags. And I think that's something that actually favors H2k quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I was mentioning when they made this roster change. I was curious to see, is Dito going to stick with the AR in uplink, or is he going to let Fizzurp run the Shiva like he normally does? That brings a lot of success to this H2k gaming team in terms of their map control. I'm not entirely sure that might go. We did see Dito rock the Shiva in that Search and Destroy, so he could just pull that out and let Fizzurp keep running a sub or maybe be a tertiary AR. We'll have to see how it goes. But getting in the ban and protects, we're seeing the grip go again. That might be a consistent ban throughout a lot of the tournament here. H2k seems perfectly fine playing without it.
And of course, Marky B follows that one up with Overclock, and I want to see when Infused goes against a team that doesn't get rid of this grip, you know, how do they perform? Are they well practiced with it? Because I don't know if that's the exact thing that's hurting them here. I would really call out like some of their positioning and everything. They were trying to play this, seems like very slow at times, and it's not really helping them. Like H2k has been forcing the occasion time and time again, and with the setups that they've had, it's really helped. And now we do see the Man of War taken out for the uplink as well, followed of course by Overdrive.
Yeah, and you mentioned their positioning in that last match. That certainly did seem to be an issue because H2k was just collapsing on them and capitalizing on every single mistake and every angle they weren't looking at throughout the entirety of the map. And
I'm thinking, especially in one round where you had like Marky B set up, they had control the middle of the map, they had Urban watching the alleyway as well. They could have easily took out at least 3 H2k players there if Urban holds his position. It was either Urban or Zero. One of them hold that position. Marky B is right there. All he had to do is go through Dub, but instead H2k sort of flood down the alleyway and they take out the player in the back, and that just completely broke the setup from Infused.
Yeah, we got to remember they can't see through walls like us. You know, they're playing off of the information that they have. Maybe if they use more tacticals, they could have gotten more information. But here we are in the specialist draft, guys. Fierce rocking the Annihilator. No matter what, this man is just not afraid to rock that Annihilator. On the opposing side, we're looking at Infused. They're going with the relatively standard 1 weapon, 3 specialist ability comp. So 2 weapons on the side of H2k because Fears won't run anything but the Annihilator, and then 3 abilities, 1 weapon on the side of Infused. And in this uplink here, I got to say, having the Annihilator might actually benefit them if we can see Fears hit those shots. That might help them out a lot, especially if we can get into a solid position within Spawn Trap. They have Dito, who's able to also Spawn Trap with the Tempest, and he's been looking pretty good with the Shiva so far, at least in the past map. And if we see anything of a performance like we saw from Legal and Fizzurp in that hard point, this is going to be a very difficult uplink coming from Infused. Legal played phenomenally in that hard point.
And that's part of what scares me on the side of Infused. It takes 1 break for H2k to really start setting up a spawn trap because they have players who are so talented at being able to hold those positions with any sort of weapon, with an assault rifle, with a submachine gun as well. So Infused, you have the 1 break, and I'd say that turns into easily 4 points for H2k, if not 6.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. I feel like their coordination in uplink hasn't been the greatest over the past couple of months, but with this new 4th, of course, that dynamic could possibly change here. Infused, though, no slouch in respawn game modes. They're in a bit of a slump so far in this series, but they could come to life at any point in time. Of course, at MLG Anaheim, this is a team that went undefeated in their pools. This is a team that went Game 5 with FaZe to get knocked out of the tournament. This is a team with Marky B, who has the best placing out of any European player on North American soil in these open tournaments, and I'm looking for them to do big things and bounce back.
And, you know, I sort of wrote Infused down as the quote-unquote Anaheim Cinderella story for the Europeans because, of course, you saw, like, everyone was hyping up Millennium. They didn't really have the best performance in Anaheim. Of course, they bounced back, ended up winning Stage 2, and then you had Splice going back and forth. Infused was really that 3rd team. It's like, how will they perform? And they really showed up. And this isn't the Infused that I saw in Anaheim. This isn't the Infused I saw at Stage 2 Finals.
Yeah. Something else we got to remember. Something else we got to remember. I, of course, underestimated H2k because why wouldn't you in this matchup, especially if they just made a roster change? But they are they're a team of players that have been playing for a very long time, right? You know, they've been in this sort of competition before. This is just another match to them, and they're certainly coming to light. I don't want to sit here and step all over them at all.
And you know, I'm on the same page with you on that too, because you get into H2K, a lot of people didn't know what to expect. The roster change, the interview they had at Stage 2 playoffs as well, didn't
that has
really
got to
help
be the
their
dumbest
cause.
quote of all time I have ever heard, man. You know, we didn't really practice, so we didn't expect anything. Oh, I never want to hear that again. But H2K is looking different now. I think we see two Shivas on the side of H2K. You got to wonder why Infused wouldn't target for a ban like that, because it gave them so much trouble in the search and destroy, and H2K is very well known for using this in uplink. But we'll see how it goes. Lots of inmates on their end. See if they can establish some dominance with the map control of those ARs.
So we have 3 ARs on the side of H2K and 4 ARs on the side of Infused.
The grip
of course,
band.
It's going to really help out when setting up in a lot of the power positions on this map. But now, H2K looking to get the early 3-0 here in Anaheim. Petey's going to try and get a nice start out, but Legal's going to be able to take him out early, try and set up in the middle of the map, but shots being traded left and right. Marky B's going to try and open things up. He's on a 3 streak.
Marky B finding himself 2 kills, has another one lined up in front of him on their side of Broken, and it looks like all of H2K is going to be spawning up on left side. The drone is in control of Infused, and they're bringing it right over to their spawn. 0 team kills Petey. He's the escort on the drone carry. He needs to stay alive here. Can't find the kill on the Fears, who's playing in a very nice defensive position and stops the Infused push in its tracks. The Shivas are in full effect for H2K here.
So now look at this. Petey's going to be the one coming through sort of this B-bomb area that we always talk about in Search and Destroy on this map. But in uplink, huge power position. Unfortunately for him, H2K is able to counter that, and here comes the push. Once again, Legal leading the way with the satellite drone. Dito's going absolutely off, sort of the lead blocker, and that's 2 points on the board early for H2K.
Yeah, you know, them running those 2 Shivas is not stopping their pressure or their tempo at all. That's something you always hear people talk about when someone's running the Shivas. Oh, he's going to play really slow. They're not going to get too much done on the map. But you look at a player like Dito who's playing aggressive with the M8, and then he has teammates beside him with the Shivas, you know, picking off lots of these long-range engagements. They're pre-aiming. It's very hard to stop when you have 4 ARs pre-aiming that can kill that quickly.
Dito's picked up 7 in a row. Now he's finally down. Fizzer falls as well. So there we go. Infused, that sets them up to get some control on the map. They're going to have to take out at least one more wave of H2K players if they want to get this dunk on the board. The lead blocker going to be Marky B. Already has used his psychosis. Has to lay down. That's going to be easy spot. But there we go. 3 down for Infused. Petey trying to stay alive here with the satellite drone. Teammates there to back him up. And now we have a tie score to a piece.
Yeah, Infused coming through there, taking down 3 players. Gave an easy route for him there. Fizzer, though, trying to grab the drone right off the spawn. He's going to fall. 0 responds with 2 Shiva kills. Legal trying to take him down, loses the gunfight. That's 0 with a commanding position on middle map. Fears is trying to respond, but 0 still shutting him down. Let's give the spotlight to this man. Let's see what he's got going on. His 8 kill streak at the moment.
So 0 now. Of course, going to call in the Hellstorm to start things out. Pops that, able to clean up both of them. Looking for a third, of course, Petey's able to clean that one up. Marky B has control of the satellite drone, going to knock that in for 2 more, but there's still another H2K player here around that corner. That's Dito, who's worked his way inside of Grandma. 0. The pinch is starting to come in from H2K. Might be called out. There we go. Urban, though, goes for the toss. That one up and in.
See, if I'm 0 there, right there, I stay alive, and I just pre-aim. I don't reload, I don't back into a corner, do nothing, because he was 1 kill away from getting that Tempest, and he could have stayed back there and spawn trap for his team, and doubled up on score streaks, but instead he's going to fall. Marky B's trying to stop Fizzer, but he finds a 3-piece of his own. The Shivas are a huge factor in this matchup here. 1 player pushing through Broken. Petey looks away just as he turns the corner, and Fears and Dito are finding kills on Broken side.
Here we go. The forward push starting to come from H2K once again. Fears leading the way. Already opened it up with 2 in a row. Going to spot 1 more. Not able to clean that one up. Legal lined up the 1-point toss. That goes in. And every time we see these points going in, the middle of the map opens wide up for both of these teams. They're not able to really hold on to those positions. But right now, you don't really expect nothing to really going on that favor because the teams are able to rotate back, grab the drone, and start to push on.
Paradox, with a lot of the meta on this map right now being so heavily AR based, I would give the lead to Infused by a large margin, but H2K Shivas are responding so well to whatever they can do that this is anyone's game at this point. Urban trying to find a second kill. Dito finds 2 with the M8. Fears still alive on mid-map. He is a huge threat with that AR, but the Shiva is going to force him to back down. Popping back out with Ligo to go for the trade, and they're able to find the kill.
So now you see 2 players starting to go for this push on the side of Infused. Petey able to make sure one rotates all the way through the middle of the map.
Camo.
There we go. That's the camo coming out of legal. 1 point toss. That one's intercepted by Zero and thrown away.
Zero with a very great objective-based play right there. Take the drone, throwing it out of the map after the interception, but Dito's darts coming in to take down Marky B. That sounds like a shop or something, like a little shop. Dito's darts. Like he's selling subs and hoagies or something. Anyway, Legal running down the middle of the map. He's got the drone. Zero is in position with the Shiva, though, finding 2 kills and shutting down Fears Annihilate. That's going to be huge for them, increasing their pressure and their chance to get a last score in the last 20 seconds here. Drone going down middle map. There's a stun coming into play. Zero gets tagged up, taken down. 2 kills going in favor of H2k. The throw comes in. No one is there to intercept it, and Infused is going to go into the second half 6-3.
Wow, so you mentioned a lot of the play with the Shiva on the side of H2k. Infused has answered right back with that. They pull out one of their own, and it really helps them get some of those points on the board. This is the Infused that I was wondering, like, where were they at in map 1 and 2? Seems like they're alive now.
Yeah, for sure. Infused is looking a lot stronger right now. That huge streak from Zero going on that, what was it, 11 kill streak? Almost got his Tempest in the enemy base, spawn trapping just so heavily. It was huge for his team for sure to give them this lead going into the second half, but the question is, can they maintain it, Paradox?
I think so. Just from what I've seen so far, I think they can hold this and go into the second side. I mean, you think PD, the only one really sort of standing out as far as that on the side of Infused, 6 and 14, but on the other side, of course, the Eagle, 6 and 13 as well for them. But of course, we do see another fight going on over here on the left side of the map. This is going to help teams try and set up control in mid. And that fight, again, going over to Infused this time. First time we saw it go over to H2k. The Cerberus down the middle of the map as well. And the kinetic arm is going to help PD be the lead blocker here to try and get some more points on the board as Marky B gets the dunk in to start second half.
Infused hitting the dunk right there. Heavily pushed into the, they didn't even go with the graveyard side and get broken control or anything. They just went right down the middle path there. So looking at this setup coming from Infused, they have mid-map control. H2k is on their back foot in their base, but they did get the first. Infused gets the first kill, and it's even more heavily in their favor. The drone play comes in, but they didn't shut down Dito. No one looked for the kill. No lead blocker, no escort at all, and Dito's going to find 2 kills to shut down that play.
And of course, the drone will be picked up by Illegal. They're going to try and wrap. Looked like they were going to go for the wrap to start. Here we go. Tito's going to be able to pick that one up, but they need to be worried about Zero here on the top rock, able to completely shut them down. Infused cleans up 4. Zero will be the first one to grab the drone. They already have Urban. You see on the minimap set up, watching these H2k players come in one by one here. So what do you think about this play from H2k? They go for the fight in the base. They don't try and reset middle map.
I'm surprised.
Now, look at it. It's like wide open.
I'm surprised I didn't see any grenades or anything come into play right there.
Yeah.
Everybody was pre-aiming with the Shivas and everything. They found 1 kill, but no one was there to intercept. No one slowed them down with tacticals. Pretty weird response. Might have been a little uncoordinated, but here we are. Legal finding a kill on the drone. It looks like the drone's going to be in control of Fizzerv now, though. Seeing lots of trophy systems around middle map throughout this entire game. I haven't been able to see exactly who it is throwing them down for the Fuse. I'm really interested to see that, but PD here grabbing the drone, going through Broken. They have a nice path in front of them. All of H2k is off the spawn on the other side of the map. Looks like there's a Cerberus down. It's going to be Zeros coming into play here, helping them maintain that graveyard control. This could be at least a 1-point play for them.
That Cerberus has been doing absolute work. It's over here in Graveyard now. It was set up under the actual uplink portal earlier. It's been going to town, and Infused still have control of the middle of the map. The forward pass looked like it tried to come in. It was blocked
I think he hit the little fence,
Urban
the little barbed
now
wire.
has it. Has the active camo, slides in. That's 2 more points on the board. Infused extends their lead. Now it's up to 10 points.
The snowball is rolling. Infused is in a commanding position in this uplink here. Zero is in position with the Tempest, finds 1 kill, looks away towards Graveyard, maintaining that map control, finds a 3rd kill. Zero is unstoppable right now, and that's another 1-point play. Zero is your man of the match, ladies and gentlemen. His long-range shots are unstoppable.
And as soon as Zero goes down, PD's over here cleaning up H2k players left and right. He's on the 3 streak. Now rotates back. Urban gets another dunk on the board. 16-3 now for Infused. PD finds 1 more, able to clean that one up as well.
2 players down, drone in hand. Zero moving up through Graveyard. They have not been able to take Infused out of their base just yet. Zero finding the 1-point play with 2 minutes left. It's looking very heavily favored in Infused side.
So finally, we see H2k get control of their base once again, and now they have control of the satellite drone. That's going to be Fierce set up in
There we go.
Just throw
Get
it
that
towards
out
the
of
middle
here,
of the
please.
map.
It's spent way too much time on our base in the last 2 minutes with Zero, just making our entire map their stomping grounds. 2 players on the opposite wall, jumping over to get some players tagged up and forcing Fierce to back down. But he's going to be able to find a kill anyway. No one responds to the fact that he was tagged up. There we go. Semtex comes into play, but that's his teammate that does it.
Can't afford to have those team kills at this position of the game. I mean, it's 16-3, just about a minute remaining. That's not going to help at all. And now Infused on the attack once again. Zero cleans up one, has another one here around the corner. Not able to get that one, but has bought enough time for PD to get right in.
2
That's
points.
2 more. He should be able to hold this position. 2 has 1 right in front of him, has to pull out the L card. Not able to clean it up.
Accidentally beats down in the middle of his gunfight there. Clearly not intentional, but that's going to lose them some map control. And I mean, at this point, how much map control do they really need? The score is 18-3, 45 seconds left. It looks like this one is realistically impossible for H2k to come back from. Legal though pulling out the laser sight on the VMP. He's been going with pretty much his quick draw and stock throughout the entire map. He has not had the best map here. I think that a lot of it is because of how heavily dominated this map has been with ARs. You don't look for someone like him to have that many kills with how much of a factor the Shiva and the M8 has been here. So he's just he has to be the player to take that L, you know?
It's really hard to be able to play with a submachine gun. You think of a map like Infection, Fringe as well. You have to have those lanes open, and when everyone's using ARs, it just makes your job that much harder. But Legal, of course, you see flashes where he's putting up a lot of bodies in the kill feed, but this one, we see game number 1 and game number 2 go really in favor of H2k. Game number 3 swings right back in the other direction, Infused with the 18-3 stomping here in this one.
Yeah, and for H2k there, they started off pretty hot, I'd say. I mean, they might have gone in the second half 3-6, but we had some great AR presence from Dito. We had decent showing from Fierce, lots of multi-kills, decent map control going through Graveyard, but it just slowed down after that. We didn't see much coming out of Legal or Fizzerb, and we also didn't see too many opportunities for them to do big things there. But Paradox, that's going to be a map win for Infused. The score of the series is now currently 2-1 in favor of H2 Gaming, with map 1 very one-sided in favor of H2k. Map 2, same story, was a 6-2, 6-3 victory. 6-2 victory, and now we're seeing Infused quick stomping 18-3 on Infection Uplink.
So now we move to evac, capture the flag for game 4. The stage is set for this one. What do you expect to see from both teams?
CTF, I think that's... I want to give the CTF to Infused, and then I'm going to say we're going to a game 5. I think that they're finally coming to life. You know, they're not down on themselves after losing their best map and then getting stomped in Search and Destroy. They got to feel good about the CTF, and they just got to go, look, they're a decent Search and Destroy team, but we're better. We've beaten them before. Let's just take this CTF. We're better at respawns and come into game 5 swinging. So I want to say this is going to go in favor of Infused. Could be like a 3-1 kind of victory. That's how I'm feeling.
All right, I see that. I'm thinking how H2K wants to set up this one again, because you saw the ARs in that last one. I wonder what sort of ideal they'll have for this one going into it. But
yeah, I'm curious to see what happens here too, because of how strong the subs were in map 1. I want to see if Infused is maybe going to adapt and rock some of these high fire rate ARs, and maybe even just pull out the Pharaoh. Like, maybe the VMP just isn't for you right now. Legal's been the only one that's really done too much with it so far, and it looks like the ban and protects aren't ever going to go their way with the grip and laser side bans that we could see here again. But we'll just have to see who's the most methodical and coordinated team. CTF really highlights just how well you're able to keep track of players and push up as a team throughout the map.
Now, Fizz, of course, starts this one out by getting rid of Afterburner. So the map wall runs outside of the map really going to take a hit there. Of course, Overclock followed up. PD gets rid of that. And I wonder, I would say if you're H2K, go for the grip ban again.
You know, and if I'm Infused, if I really want, maybe they just don't prioritize the grip that highly, but I would have protected the grip before banning Overclock. Maybe they're just not too worried, but maybe they don't feel like they're being bothered by it, but it doesn't look like the normal Infused right now. So that's something that I would actually go for a protect on. Kind of playing into H2K Gaming's game. They could just ban out the grip right now, but it looks like we're going to be seeing some high caliber rapid fire bans coming up. Lots of standard bans going on so far here. Kinetic Armor and Overdrive. No one wants to deal with that in CTF. We didn't see the camo ban in Uplink, so I'm surprised we're seeing so many different abilities being banned in the CTF here. There's the HCXD ban coming into play. Now expect the last two to be high caliber rapid fire normally.
If it doesn't go high cal rapid fire, that will make this a very interesting game. Dito gets rid of the rapid fire, and there we go. High cal. So Grip finally makes its way into this series for game number 4, and really interested to see, like, no smoke taken out in this one, no active camo taken out.
There was no Shiva ban, and Fizz loves to use the Shiva on this map. I found that pretty interesting. Maybe I think Infused is kind of, they're okay with playing into H2k's game. They're okay. They think that they could do it better than them. So let's have to see if that comes into play here in the CTF. But it wasn't looking so good in the first 2 maps, huh? Looks like they're finally waking up, maybe.
It wasn't. And looking at this too, you just said that, you know, Infused letting H2k sort of dictate the way this series is going. That seems to be showing itself in a lot of the engagements as well, with the exception of that last game. Looking at this, you think Infused, a lot of EU squads, and to play CTF slow. You think on the side of H2k, I'm thinking in my mind just running, what are we going to see from H2k in the CTF? Do they really want to slow it down and play really slow like we normally see over in Europe, or do they want to go guns blazing and come on the map hot?
I expect a bit of aggression coming from the likes of Dito. We've seen just how in your face he can play with that AR, had some hill time on that breach even. So I think we're going to see a much faster paced CTF. But really, I guess I can't even predict that. This team is very much untested on them with their replacement of Dito, and the weapon roles kind of being shifted around. So we'll just have to see. This is essentially a new H2k gaming roster facing off against Infused.
There are just like so many questions we have about this squad, and I really love that we get to see them tested here on LAN for the first time, because it starts to answer a lot of these questions, of course, with COD XP around the corner as well. I just love seeing these new teams come out, how they perform, who's able to adapt to this role, who's able to do this, and then we see them in Advanced Protects. This is a squad that seems like throughout the rest of this tournament is really going to be one to watch as far as, I would say, another thing to watch in that aspect is Ground Zero as well, how those two squads are able to dictate the pace of the game by their use of the Ban and Protect system.
My thing is, DT is very well known for banning out. It's usually weapons that they ban out, like the M8. They're one of the few NA teams that'll ban out the M8, but I don't think Infused would rely on that too heavily. I think that they'd be fine with losing the M8. My only worry might be is that the Man of War stays in, because we've seen how strong DT can be with that. But I don't know. That'd be an interesting matchup to watch. I still see that Infused, as long as they come to life, and if it depends on how they do in the CTF. If they do well in the CTF, then I am much more confident in their matchup against DT. I predict them to go undefeated in this pool, but with the way they started off this series, I'm kind of worried. So we'll have to see if they can carry the momentum of that slaughter of an Uplink into the CTF here, getting in the specialist draft, or passing through the special draft. We do see that H2k is finally going 3 abilities, 1 weapon this time.
And of course, that one weapon on their side will be the Tempest, and
not the Annihilator. Fears is running the Tempest. He's rocking the.
I'm surprised. But another thing I really want to highlight: the Vision Pulse on the side of Fizzerb. Great pick in this one. Of course, it's not matched on the side of Infused. Evac is a very small map in the rotation, really the smallest map we do have, I believe, in the rotation. So you're able to get a lot of information with that, especially capture the flag. You take a player off for 7.5 seconds if they go down. A lot of information is going to be needed, especially if you look at the side Infused is on right now. You go into the kitchen, you can highlight, ping, all of that. You come through the middle as well. Even if you go into red, there's so many places to use that. Of course, you do give up your position, but the amount of information you get makes it worth it.
Let's flip through some of these weapons really quick and see what they've got going on, Paradox. You do that for me. We got the HVK on the side of Infused, of course. PD rocking the sub. The grip did make it through, so expect to see some grip long barrel on those VMPs. I think we're going to see Legal rocking the grip as well. The Pharaoh, of course, coming into play. Fizzerb is real comfortable with that weapon. Let's see how his performance with that gun changes, though, with the grip being in play this time.
So, I want to hop on board with Fizzerb. Of course, Legal able to pick up the first one. EMP is going to spot Fizz, and that's going to be
great spot check with that EMP there.
In favor of Infused. Now look at this. Urban playing a little bit of ring around the Rosie with Fears here. Fears able to spot him, cleans that one up easy. But he does have to worry about Zero. Might come up behind him. Zero has been spotted now, has to back up, and as soon as he tries to do it, he's taken out as well.
H2k, 2 players pushing in the base, but they will be met by players 7 and 8. That's Marky B and Urban. Marky B finds the initial kill, headshot on to Fears, still in position. This is a great defensive position to be in if you are an AR player like Marky B, and that's going to force an H2k player to back up. That's Fizzerb.
And I love the play from PD there. You saw him come up through Z. Almost able to spot the player for H2k. Of course, that's Fizzle, who's just hanging up here. And now it looks like
Marky B's just going to hang back.
Push up a little bit, yeah.
That's that European CTF right there. He's just going to hang back, not push up at all with his teammates. Let them go through and do what they do. And I mean, Infused is a team of players that have very high multi-kill potential, so I wouldn't doubt their ability in that at all. But Fizzle still finding a kill. That's 2 kills that go in favor of H2k, and Urban is able to respond with one of his own. He's just going to go for this lower wall run and try and just get lost. You know, he's just trying to just ghost himself right now.
Flag picked up for a second, immediately dropped. Fizzle goes for the flag now. He falls as well. Meanwhile, Urban's going to be the one pushing for Infuse. Has to do with Dito here in just a second. He's going to be the one watching the flag for H2k. There are 2 players here. You see Dito picks up one. There's another one around here trying to find that one. Lego helps, cleans up PD, and that leaves an empty base on the side of H2k.
All right, so H2k clears out their base. 2 minutes into the game, not too much action going on thus far. Marky B looks like he maybe he's going to leave the base here a little bit. He's got 2 engagements in front of him. That's player 1 and 4 Fears, and Fizzler B has to challenge, finds 1 kill. The next one's going to be laying down waiting for him, and he gets the better of him with the sheet, with the Pharaoh. So good up close with how much damage it does. And now it's still 3v2 in favor of Infused because Marky B got the best out of that situation.
And of course, Legal drops back very fast. And
flag pull.
Look at this, the flag grab. Urban used his psychosis there as well, but he did have PD there to back him up. PD ends up falling. That leaves 2 up for Infuse. Zero and Marky B going to have to hold off the H2k push.
All right, Zero's playing in Marky B's position right here, back on the helipad. Spots 1 player, or maybe he spotted 1 player coming out. He knows that there's someone coming from this side of the map. Tries to find 1 kill, wins the first engagement, has to back up. 6 bullets in his mag, and he's tagged up. There we go. There's the long-range shot coming from that Pharaoh coming into play. He's able to get 2 kills. Urban, though, still alive. They don't know where he's at. They've lost it. Vision Pulse comes in. Not too much going on there as Legal's going to be taken out anyway. PD with the flag coming down middle map.
No.
It's going to be a head-on engagement here, but between the 2 flags, he's getting streaked out here. Pops the camo, trying to find himself a path through middle map. He turns and burns, finds another kill. This could be the first flag cap for Infused. 3 minutes into the game, Team Infused is up 1-0 against H2k.
Brilliant. Picks up the kill. The active camo pop. Fears could not spot him at all. He tried to put some shots into him. He's weak, able to get away. The flag cap on the board, and now Marky B already has another flag over on Infused, but doesn't spot Dito around the corner. Dito picks that one up, pops the psychosis as well, is able to trap 1 player here. Looks like that's Zero, who's had to force his way into the laundry.
Right. It looks like it's a 3v2 as Fears is able to find that kill. They have to clear Zero out of the base. They cannot forget he's here. He finds a kill on the Fears, though. So now expect Zero to just waste the time of H2k and let his teammates push up. It's going to be a little difficult, though, because they don't want Marky to leave the base.
This Zero has spotted 1 more. That's Fierce.
Kills him again.
He's just taking them out 1 by 1. It doesn't think anyone from
It's
H2k.
been Fierce twice. That's the worst part.
Times. Look at this again.
Someone stop this man.
Now Legal's going to be the one to rotate back. Dito still really isn't here to help him. This is going to be another one that goes in his favor, and finally he's taken out.
Right there, you got to expect Zero to try and just stay alive in the base a little bit longer and get those streaks, but you know he can't see through walls like us. He did not know where Legal was going to be coming from there. Dito finds a kill on mid-map. That's P that's taken down. Someone had score streaks. Did you flip over to see who that was?
Yes.
I think it might have been an Infused player. Oh no, I think I was looking at the specialist. Okay, so we have 2. Oh, there we go. It was PD that has the Cerberus and the Lightning Strike. Currently 6 and 5. Must have been from a lot of those kills that he got middle map with the flag and then the cap. That's gonna be really helpful going into the second half here. H2k on their last push. Urban stops 2 players, instantly traded, but there's still another Infused player to worry about. That's Marky B, always in his base and always finding a kill. Marky B has been huge in their base defense so far this game.
Yeah, Fizzler going to try and get something done on the side of H2k. He's taken out. So now that leaves Zero just in the middle of the map, hanging out for 5 more seconds. Can't get the flag across the map in that amount of time. So we're going to go in the half with Infused up 1-0, trying to force the game 5 here against H2k.
Yeah, and getting into the second half here, we're seeing where Infused play style really comes into play, just that defensive play. Marky B is just so used to sitting in the back of his base, and he's so good at it too. He always finds at least a kill when someone challenges him, that they can work around that, and the fact that they have score streaks, and the fact that they always have someone on the flank for a counter pull to just keep that lead in their favor and waste H2k's time.
So, I want to hop on board with Marky B. See what he does off the break here in the second half. Another player I want to watch out for.
Oh, and the side is about to come out
as well. Actually, let's hop on board. Fierce, see what he's doing. Just watch
some gunfights going down in bar.
See that? Yep, that's Fizz, able to clean up Urban. Immediately throws the Simtex across the map, spots 1 more around the top AC, able to clean up PD. So, H2k coming out very fast here, but they need to worry about the Cerberus in the base of Infused.
All right, Fizzer smelling blood, looking for Marky B in the back of his base. He knows Marky B's back here. H2k and a lot of North American Call of Duty players are well aware of the EU meta right now when it comes to CTF play. And Fizz is just trying to stay alive and wait on his team. They don't mind pushing up all 4 players, and he's just trying to be a nuisance and let his team push in from other lanes. He's not able to tag too much up, but the little bit of aggro that he got might help them out, but it didn't help him out enough as 4 kills go in favor of Infused. Dito, though, able to find one on 0 as a trade. And Cerberus comes down, and it might just get behind Dito here in just a moment.
I think Dito might be able to get something done here. Looks like he's going to wait a little bit for Fizzerp. Meanwhile, their flag has been taken by Infused, and just like that, Fierce comes up with that one. But I'm really interested to see how H2k is going to
I think Dito's got the world against him right now. He's got a Cerberus and 2 players in front of him. There you go. See, Marky B shuts him down. The Cerberus comes through. 4 players fall. PD already has the flag out. It looks like another flag cap for Infused.
Yeah.
No one is up to stop it. This might even be more score streaks as he's 400 points away from what might be him doubling up on Lightning Strike or getting that Hellstorm. There it is, 200 points. We might have to stick around with him and see exactly what he's got going on. But he's on a 3-kill streak. 2 flag caps to his name. He's definitely been huge for Infused in terms of the objective play. 1 player, top bar. Another one in the bottom. He knows not to challenge. 1 player from Infused falls down. Oh, not able to complete his streaks, and H2k is in the base of Infused. Vision Pulse comes in. Fizzer finds a kill on Urban's wall run. The flag is going down mid-map, but Dito is trapped. There we go. Has a lane open in front of him. No, only person in range is going to be 0, and the Lightning Strike comes into play.
That also helps out for Marky B as well. You see he's going all the way around the map to try and stop this push from H2k. Might get here just in time to do something. Not able to do it. H2k finally on the board, only down by 1. Beautiful Psychosis there, and now we see the Tempest coming out to play as well. That's Fierce holding it down.
1 just around the corner. Fierce putting the Tempest away. Ran through its clock, but that player's going to get right by him and cut through mid-map. Great play out of Urban and just not even try and fight that battle. 0 comes through for the trade. Great misdirection coming out of Infused. But there is 1 player from H2k over there on green, still trying to fight a battle. It's a losing battle as Urban is able to take down Fizzer. And just very slow CTF here, winding down the last 2 minutes. Looks like Infused is playing a bit more aggressive, though. They're all swarming the H2k base.
Look at this. PD is right here. Looks like his teammate Urban will be able to clean up one around the helipad.
Psychosis came into play there and was able to find himself a kill. Urban finds a kill and a flagpole, trying to misdirect the player, tagging him up a bit, throw off his mental clock of where he might be, and he
does it.
Juked him, hit him with the juke, but there it is, the player's top green, able to stop him anyway. Still wasted a little bit of time, and that's really all Infused has to do if they're still up by 1 flag cap.
Now, push coming in from H2k. Fizzerp going to be the one in control of the flag. Fears looking for a kill around the corner, not able to clean it up. Fizzerp, though, looks like he was going to try and push, waits a little bit. His teammates now here with them. That's legal. And just like that, we have a tie game.
That's 4 dead guys, 1.5 minutes, and H2k is putting in the 2nd flag to tie it up. Marky B might just have to leave the base now. Things are getting a little scary, and Infused could not capitalize on any of the utility they had. The Cerberus got a little bit of base defense for them, but they didn't get any flag caps. 0 stayed alive in the enemy base for quite a bit. PD had some score streaks of his own, or some kill streaks of his own, and they didn't make much of it, even after the flag pull of them being 4 dead. So H2k playing a pretty solid half here so far, despite the world being stacked against them.
And I was going to say, they're starting to get a little bit dangerous because H2k was so close to streaks. Of course, they are able to take out Fizzerp, so that taken off of the map, but 0 is going to work his way around the corner, doesn't spot Dito. Laying down, protecting the flag, knows another one's coming around too, and calls that one out to Legal, who's able to clean up Urban.
Whoa, the caffeine just hit me really hard or something because I thought Dito was in the enemy base and just walking away from the flag. Don't do drugs, kids. Coffee's bad for you. Dito running through mid-map here, trying to set up for a flagpole with his team. There's 2 Infused players to take into account, excuse me. 30 seconds to work with to again overtime, and H2k is in the offense. He finds 1 kill. That's a pick on the Urban. But there is an Infused player in the enemy base. That's Marky B pulling the flag. Like I said, he has to leave that base if they want to avoid going into overtime. Doubles back, and Fierce is able to shut him down. He doesn't even have to go for the return because he knows the rest of Infused is in their base.
And that was a beautiful play by H2k. They completely trap him in Z. He had nowhere to go except into the gun of H2k. And now looks like H2k comes out, forces the overtime. 2 apiece at the end of regulation. The next few minutes are going to decide which way this series goes. H2k might be able to come out with a 3-0, or Infused forces the game number 5.
I'd say Infused is looking pretty strong here, but H2k is definitely a much stronger contender in this series than I thought they would be. this CTF could certainly go either way. Both teams are playing it very competently, I would say. H2k just has a bit of a resurgence of energy here in the CTF for sure.
So, now overtime going to start, and let's see. You mentioned Marky B a lot. He is leaving the base, has a submachine gun to start this one. Looks like his first fight will be against Dito here in the glass area, and looks like Dito actually goes middle map, comes up behind PD, cleans him up. There's a 2-on-2 in the base. The first one goes over to Infused. You saw Marky B cleans that one up. Zero gonna pick up the other one as well, but by the time they get here, a lot of H2k players have spawned up again. Zero though, it's like, all right, I know you guys are here. I'm gonna clean up one more. Our flag is going to start to go home, and look at this.
Zero coming through and being a nuisance, Paradox. Just the pressure that he has, aiming down sight with that laser beam of an H2k. He's able to help his team get the flagpole out. H2k though coming up through bar. PD has to be the brick wall for his team. Wins one gunfight, buys his team some time. The camo comes into play, but Infused gets to cap in 51 seconds anyway. And H2k stopwatch CTF. They have to answer back at 51 seconds or less with a cap to win the game, or Infused has to cap one of their own, and they win the game.
So I went over to PD. It's like it comes down to him. As soon as the flag goes out, those H2k players spawn up, go immediately. Like, we have to counter this right now. PD able to pick up one, buys enough time. Although it goes down the second engagement, enough time there. 51 seconds now on the clock. It's now or never for H2k.
Let's see what this push looks like from H2k. It's going to be a 1-2-1 split. It's going to be two engagements going down mid-map. Actually, no, Fizzup's going to cut through dip, and it looks like he might get flanked here momentarily. Sniffs out the play. Finds a kill on the wall run. That's 2 kills that go in favor of Infused, though. And the Tempest comes out. That's another one for Infused. 3 players fall. They're running out of time. 30 seconds left, and Zero is playing base defense with a specialist weapon.
Zero going huge here in overtime. And, of course, PD as well is able to pick up 2, but Zero's on this 5 streak. Looks like he's going to keep this streak going until the end of this game. Trying to pick up one more. Not able to do it. Pulls out the H2k. That now going in his favor. And Infused now have forced the game number 5. We're going to see Stronghold Search and Destroy decide this series.
After that hard point, and obviously it wasn't used in the S&D, I'd say Zero's Tempest was a huge part of the success of Infused here in these respawns. I mean, his zoning and his just map pressure in general as an AR player has been great for them. He's one of those players who's just so good at those mid to long range engagements where it's going to be really tough to get him off of a head glitch, and he's showing just how big of a factor he can be as a secondary AR on Infused.
Man, so we really gave a hard time to Infuse in the first 2 maps.
Rightfully so. Did you?
Yeah.
Were you watching the same maps I were?
I was. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was not the Infuse we wanted to see the last 2.
I don't know who that was in the first 2 maps.
This is what we expected from the team coming across the pond. And now an H2k squad that really rolled through Infuse in the first Search and Destroy has a chance to save this first game at the Call of Duty MLG Orlando Open. Stronghold Search and Destroy to decide things, and last one we saw Fringe, right? And we noted H2k, how they were able to play together as they were able to play as a team, really sort of isolate and take out Infused players one by one. Stronghold, with both of those bombs right next to each other, you're going to have to really trap someone in bunker or mansion to try and really pick them off. Of course, you have players going peak mid as well, but a lot of these first bloods are going to be important.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing that might be important is just a lot of the strategy that involves taking control of Mansion. I feel like H2k has shown just how tactically strong they can be. I mean, Dito is certainly no slouch in Search and Destroy, coming off of that Cloud9 roster and his long history of playing Search and Destroy. You got to imagine that this is going to be a very, very strong team and a very smart team, for sure. I mean, we've seen some nade spots from Fizzup on this map that are pretty strong, and with a lot of the open area above their heads, even some of the glass windows in the ceiling of Mansion, you got to imagine some of that's going to come into play and take Infused off of their spots. I'm curious to see if H2k has actually done their research here for how Infused plays this map, to see where they're going to be positioned and everything like that. We could have some counter-stratting going on.
I wouldn't be surprised. You think H2k is a squad that likes, as you said, that sort of cerebral play, right? They definitely do their homework. They get the job done. And going into this game number 5, I would just say it was going to be funny that, of course, you mentioned how they saved their spot in the Call of Duty World League with the reverse sweep against Team Liquid. Now they're sitting on the edge of being reverse swept by Infuse. And one quick aside, I love when events start out with game 5s. Just like right at the beginning, we get this intense matchup going back and forth between two teams. And of course, this one, even more important, it's sort of NA versus EU to start things off as well.
Yeah, so of course, if you're just tuning in, you see the schedule up on screen there. We're currently in progress of H2k Gaming versus Team Infused. We're going to a Game 5. It's Stronghold Search and Destroy. We're allowing the players to get some time to switch over from their CTF classes to Search and Destroy. Infused coming off of that overtime win, capping in 51 seconds with a dominating performance coming from the likes of Zero. Some great objective work from PD, great flag routes, everything like that. His teammates coordinated that very well with him as well. And it's looking pretty good here for Team Infused. They finally woke up after getting slaughtered map 1 and 2.
Yeah, so looking at Search and Destroy. Last time, I'm trying to remember, was it Marky B that had, yeah, it was Marky B that went like 1 and 7 in the first Search and Destroy. Had a pretty rough time there. Really, he showed what he can do. Of course, we know Marky B is a really talented player at Call of Duty. Definitely, I expect him to step up in this second Search and Destroy now that Infused seems to be firing on all cylinders.
For sure. And if we look at the Search and Destroy, I think something that might be big is the mid-map control when it comes to snipers. Who's going to make the mistake to get picked by Zero? Who's going to make the mistake to get picked by Fizz? Both of them has shown their Fizz more so than Zero in this series, in this map at least, or in this game mode at least, in this series specifically. Fizzerp has shown he's a little bit more impactful of a sniper. That was just on Fringe though.
I mean, you think when you're able to get behind one player with a sniper rifle and take them out,
yeah,
you're making an impact. You've worked your way sneakily all the way around the map and got up.
They were just dancing around Infused on that map, man. That might just be an anomaly. I don't know.
I hope so, because one thing that we've talked about time and time again, it seems like Infused is playing too H2k, especially in the Search and Destroy. They've been able to dictate the pace of the game time and time again. You don't want that to happen. You want to be in control of your destiny.
Right, so here we that sounded so poetic. I want to get that tattooed on my chest. Or actually, you know, I'm just go straight across my forehead. How does that sound? Let's do that. Yeah, so anyway. Bad tattoos, we're not in the conversation anymore.
The grip
is being banned once again. H2k looking like they're really holding on to that. It seems as though that has been a factor, though, I'd say.
Yeah.
They've won every map, they've banned it.
It seems like it. And
except, no, they didn't win the uplink. Did they? No, they didn't win the uplink with it, and they banned the grip in there, I think.
Yeah. I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so some normal bans here. We're going to see concussions and flashbangs going out. I had a feeling that Infused was going to get rid of that. I've seen more stuns affect Infused than H2k, like more impactful stuns affect Infused. We're going to see Infused take them both out right away. Overkill's also gone, targeting both of the snipers on both sides of these teams. I don't think we're going to see anybody target the SVG or the Thermal. They both want their snipers to be comfortable. Expect to see high caliber and rapid fire rounded out at the end here. And the HCXD, of course, was also banned last map. So standard stuff outside of the grip ban here, but that has been standard so far in this series. Yep. In context of this series, H2k has been banning out their grip as often as they can. No weapon bans. There was no M8 ban or Man of War ban.
No Shiva ban.
No Shiva. Yeah, no Shiva ban. I mean, to be fair, we've seen great Shiva play on both sides so far. It's just that H2k has more Shiva players than Infused, but more Shiva players isn't always the best thing, you know? So, especially when snipers are coming into play here, it's a solid counter to Shivas. Yeah,
so really watching the middle of the map for a lot of these sniper plays is going to be interesting. Over on the rock side as well, over on the field side of the maps is going to be something to watch for those SVGs. But now we turn our attention towards the specialist draft to see what team compositions will be going into this game number 5. Fizzerp and Zero both picking up Heatwave, Kinetic Armor, picked up by Legal and PD. Looks like Glitch will be picked up by Fears and Urban. And we don't have a mirror match this time, and I got to say, I like Dito picking Overdrive over Marky B Psychosis.
First time we're seeing Heatwave in a map, too. That's been banned out every single map this series, and seeing coming into Game 5, it looks like if this does go the distance, we could see Heatwave end some rounds for these teams, especially with a lot of those close quarters engagements in Mansion. It could definitely be a huge factor. Now, getting into the classes and everything, with nothing being banned but the grip, I don't see too much going on here. What is going to be a factor, though, is Fizzerp's Pharaoh.
Yep. The
Pharaoh is, especially after the Kuda has been nerfed, the Pharaoh up close is probably the best submachine gun to use. If you can hit the bullets, if you can make sure you hit that hip fire, it does kill. It kills in 3 bullets if you're close enough.
Do you think laser sight's in this one too?
Yeah, so laser sight's in this one. I don't think he's going to rock it.
I don't think so either, but I'm just saying, like, it's something you might want to look out for. I don't think, like, Fizz, anything can come out on the side of him sometimes. So
for sure,
we have to keep an eye on it. But that is something we really do have to watch out for, because we've seen so far in the series just how strong the Pharaoh can be.
Yeah, especially in Fizz's hands. Like, he's got a great shot with it. I'm really liking it so far with him. But and with the VMP, the grip being banned, the VMP is going to be just that much more difficult to use, especially around those mid-map engagements. So I'm interested to see how that changes the dynamic of this matchup here. Overdrive on the side of H2k. That's going to be Dito rocking it this time. Was Dito the one that ran it before, or was it? No,
Yes.
Fizzurp ran it in Fringe S&D. In the Search and Destroy, it was definitely
so.
Fizz, because he got the first blood in Junk, and then he got a 3K that round. So now that Heatwave is in play, I guess we kind of see how those abilities switch around.
So something we'll have to watch out for, the overdrive push through bunker. Of course, they sort of go, you either go all the way towards back satellite, which I don't really like. A lot of players really go over half wall, sort of force the occasion there, and then you can take control of the complete middle of the map. You sort of lock off that B bomb site. Of course, if you have control of Mansion as well on that defense, you can have control of A. On the offensive side, of course, you can push through and take control of this statue area as well, which gives you a nice line of sight over towards the half wall, looking over the B bomb.
So, guys, loading into this map here in Paradox, everybody watching, I'm really curious to see if Fizz is wearing that dumb fur coat he always wears at every event right now. Yeah, we're in Orlando, Florida, and it's nice and hot and sweaty and steamy and stinky outside.
And raining.
And, oh, yeah, that too.
Torrential rain every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I think.
It's been pretty crazy, but he always finds a way to rock that coat no matter where he's at in events. He could be in Burbank, California, playing in Stage 2 playoffs and getting first round and rocking that coat. It doesn't matter to him. The heat doesn't bother him, but looks like we may have lagged out of the lobby as the screen is frozen here. Just a little bit of an issue there, but we'll be back here shortly into the game. I'd imagine we would just go through the specialist draft again and let these guys get things sorted out, but the Search and Destroy it could go either way. After that Search and Destroy, actually, I think it's more favoring H2k, but it's definitely more favoring H2k, but I think that with Infused coming back to life here, they have the potential for that reverse sweep. They're coming off of the momentum of those last two maps, and we could see something happen here in their favor. We could see a good Game 5 comeback from Infused, and they could go undefeated in their pool again.
Yeah, so of course, remember this one is for control of Pool B, and just looking for this one, it's going to really come down to control of the bomb sites. If you're able to get control of A, really hold out inside of Mansion. You want to hold the back side of the map as well, the statue area, when you have control of the A site. Make sure no one on the other side comes through bunker and gets behind you. It's really hard to really go for a push through the Mansion and get control of the A side once that bomb is down. And then over on the B side as well, as you're looking over the middle of the map, you have control there. You have control of Mansion as well. Don't see any surprise plays coming from mid into the fire pit, down the highway, and it's really good to set up and pick up the rounds there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of teams like to play pretty interestingly around that A-bomb site, using smokes and everything to. I've seen, I think it was FaZe. I want to say it was FaZe. No, it was Luminosity against FaZe, and Luminosity used it post-plant. When FaZe planted, they popped the smoke so that they could get into the site, get into a good spot, and win that gunfight, because they knew where they would be sitting behind that bomb site. They have the little, they have the thing over the bomb site to see exactly where they're at, right? And he just knows where to pre-fire through the smoke. So we could see something like that happen in a post-plant situation.
Yeah, so looks like we're going to have to get back into the lobby for this one. And yeah, this, man.
All right, so it looks like the call is that everyone is frozen, and we're going to have to just have everybody restart really quick. It looks like we're just going to go through the special strap, not the whole ban and protects phase, and we're going to get right back into the lobby and get things sorted out for you guys here. Just building anticipation, that's all we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it is.
You have a Game 5
it's all scripted.
on the way.
It's a part of the show.
Oh,
this is the part where we disconnect.
So you think it just builds a lot of the momentum for the game, right? It's Game 5. These teams really want to come out on top here to start things off in Orlando. And
This is your first time in Orlando?
No, I think this is like my third time.
Oh, look at you. All right, big pimping out here.
For when I was like 1, I went to Disney.
Oh, you were pimping at 1 years old?
2007.
Man.
I came
I was
back,
playing Pokemon at 1 year.
I mean, you're playing Pokemon at 21 too. So.
Oh yeah, I've been. Pokemon Go really is the move. We're right under a nice Pokestop and everything, dude. The pro players got to be happy about that, man.
Well,
got to be happy about that.
Except like inside of the. Okay, one thing. Of course, we're bringing you a lot of action from the Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort at Universal Studios. We're staying at the Lowe's Sapphire. Oh my!
This place is beautiful. I love walking into places and looking around and thinking, wow, I do not belong here. Like, it is. Oh man, it's
been
incredible.
Open for like what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, we don't have anything like this in Baltimore.
It's ridiculous,
I'll tell you that. We don't have anything like this in Baltimore.
And Detroit too. It's crazy.
Loading in here though, guys. We're just giving the players some time to reconnect and get everything situated so we can get back in the specialist draft again. If you're just tuning in, I'm Fox, joined by Paradox. We're witnessing H2k versus Team Infused. We're heading into a Game 5. There was a little bit of a connection issue just at the end of the specialist draft. But looks like we got everything sorted out. Everybody's reconnecting as we speak. And we should be able to get things going in just a moment. So a little bit of a recap of the series here. The hardpoint ended 250-88 in favor of H2k. The Search and Destroy ended 6-2 in favor of H2k. Both of these were stompings. They were Legal went double positive with 3 minutes in the hill in map 1. Fizzerp also had some incredible Pharaoh play. He's been unstoppable with the Pharaoh throughout the entire series individually, for sure. Going into the Search and Destroy, a lot of the same from Fizzerp, but more so with the SVG. Just could not be shut down. And they won that 6-2 on Fringe.
And we saw game 3 going into that one. Infused comes out 18-3 on top, and they have the snowball going in control time and time again. PD putting in work, Zero as well. Just all these players going off every single time. And then, of course, you just saw game 4 goes to overtime. Infused comes away on top in that one after a 51-second flag cap.
Yeah, that flag cap certainly very well. We got to swap these teams here just a second. There we go. We should be good now. All right, H2k. All right, we're getting in the specialist draft again here, guys. It should be just exactly what we ran through the last time. We should see overdrive on the side of H2k. There's no vision pulse this time. We saw Heatwave make it through the bans it protects. Just a little bit of a recap. In the bans it protects, nothing crazy or special aside from the grip ban from H2k, which has been a bit of a constant in this series. And then the rest of it was just stuns and flashes. We saw Heatwave make it through again, and really no surprises, I'd say, other than the grip.
And it's time, ladies and gentlemen. Game 5, H2k Infused. If you're watching from inside the venue, from North America, from Europe, make sure you go show your support for your team, because the next few minutes are going to be very, very interesting for Call of Duty, especially because Infused did not look good at all, as we mentioned in the first Search and Destroy.
I think now that they woke up, they might be a bit stronger here, but still they're facing off against a squad of very, very talented S&D players. These guys date back to the Modern Warfare days and Black Ops 1 days, and they've just been playing this for such a long time at the highest level. So, aside from Legal, who kind of came up in ghosts for the most part, but still, interested to see how this one goes for sure. So let's take a look at the weapons here. Flipping through, seeing a lot of ARs on the side of Infused. That's been a 4 ARs. And, the sniper on the side of H2k.
Okay, there we go. Legal finally switches over to the submachine gun. For a second, H2k had 3 ARs and then the sniper rifle on the side of Fizz, who's just going to try and look and pick up some information.
I was waiting. I think Zero might be waiting for the rush.
Yeah, Zero's just going to try and hold this line of sight. Meanwhile, Marky B has set himself up inside of bunker. And it looks like Legal's going to be the furthest one pushed up. Of course, he does have the bomb. Doesn't want to move too far because he can be spotted and taken out with ease. Meanwhile, it looks like Marky B is going to be the first one to get himself into an engagement. Yeah,
this is normally a pretty standard thing to do here for both teams, just kind of feel out the other team and see what their strategy looks like, because then that gives you more information to play off of in the future rounds. Everyone opens up games with their strats, like their defaults. So you kind of get a general idea of what to expect from the next couple of rounds. So just feeling each other out, trying to get as much information as they can without giving up too much information. So Marky B falls back here. He tags up one player, and he doesn't need to go back in there and challenge, because he has Zero firing from a different angle, and they have to come out of that choke point. They are at the disadvantage.
Speaking of Zero, he now will have a line of sight on the H2k players, but he didn't see them in the middle of the map. PD did spot them. Now Zero goes for the engagement again, but look, as soon as he goes for that, there are 3 players here just firing straight at him. H2k gonna take the first round.
3 kills all in unison coming from H2k on the bomb plant. They didn't even have to put it down. It was just Dito on middle map shutting people down. There's 1 kill on Rock Cut, finds the next one defending his bomb planter, Legal, who should be the designated carrier for most of this game here. And H2k starting off pretty strong here in that first round with only losing 1 player.
The angle that Infused used there, I love that angle, right? If someone's on the B-bomb site, he looks up a little bit more. He spots 3 H2k players in the middle of the map, and it would probably be able to call it out to PD, who was able to react in time. Instead, PD's taken out, control of the site goes fully to H2k, and Infused not able to answer back with the kills necessary to take that.
I want to see what angle player. Yes, there we go. This is a spot that Zuma sits in quite a bit. You can see players rushing through, and they don't think to look there. They'll look over, they'll look on the bomb site. They're just trying to get behind cover ASAP, and you have the advantage. This is a great spot for Dito to sit in right here.
Now, let's see what PD's doing. He's worked his way into the top bedroom. Of course, it looks like Fierce is going to be one set up. See if anyone pushes through the top mansion. Looks like he will be able to spot both of these players. Coming around the corner, shows himself, but Marky B is able to pick up a kill on the side of Infused, even up the numbers at 3 apiece.
All right, looks like Seeing a middle push coming from Infused, and no one on H2k trying to wrap through the tunnel. That they have no bodies yet, so they have very little information other than the fact that the bomb's being planted right in front of their face. They don't have too much to work with, and it looks like Infused is doing just whatever they want as Urban finds 2 kills. Player 7, that's Marky B, back in a great spot for the post plant, but it doesn't even matter because PD's inside Mansion to close out the round.
Look at that. You see, PD's gonna fire a couple of shots with the M8, and this is what I wanted to see, right? As soon as one round really goes in favor of H2k, Infused come out and respond right after the fact. They don't let, H2k get 2-3 rounds in a row and then say, okay, we're gonna pick up a round.
Yeah, especially after that snowball that rolled all over him in the fringe S&D. That's got to be a good feeling.
How much games in this series of snowball, with the exception of that game 4, like every single time it looks like there's some sort of momentum being traded back and forth between these teams.
Is Zeros not going to snipe this game? Check if Fizzerp has cold-blooded. I think he has cold-blooded on. Yes, he does, because I didn't see fast hands. All right, so Afterburner, Flak Jacket, he's going to be able to play around mid-map quite a bit. I think that Infused knows this, and they're not even going to bother ever peeking mid-map, and Zero's not even going to bother sniping. So it looks like that's the play call for them so far. 2 players, though, coming through tunnel once again, and Marky B is in a position to play for it. Oh,
yeah.
Hung up just too long there. You didn't even bother glancing back.
And I like the split push on the side of H2k as well. You see a lot of their attention is over by the bunker. Now they do know that there are players on the side of H2k inside of the mansion as well. And with H2k having the numbers advantage, it's going to be definitely a round to watch. Fizzerp has control of the bomb. 1 up high, 0 able to even up the numbers there, but he's spotted, taken out. Urban fighting for his life inside of bottom mansion, able to get away with it as well. Fears and H2k pretty much going to get this bomb down at B. Dito's going to try and back up and look over, but Fears has now found himself in a 1v1 against Urban.
All right, Urban and Fears in the 1v1. RK5 gunfight glitch comes into play. Urban's tagged up a bit. He's well on his way to his glitch, just a few seconds away, but he stayed on the site. Fears in a great position. Very cerebral play from him after the glitch to come out on top and win another round for H2k.
It's a beautiful play on the side of Fears. He just uses the glitch, hides himself behind the bomb. And a lot of players, you move it back and you try and rotate all the way back and look over the bomb that way. Fears is like, no, I know exactly what he's going to do. I'm just going to lay here, cover myself, make sure I'm not seen, and he ends up getting another round on the board for H2k.
So what it's looking like so far, the way these teams are playing their offenses, is on offense, Fizz is going to be looking over middle map here. On defense, though, he's also going to be doing the exact same thing. He might peek back periodically towards bunker and everything. And Infused, the way they play it is they don't send anybody into that tunnel on either side. But now, it looks like they're going to be sending Marky B through it, who normally plays this side of the map, but very defensively.
Now, I want to see Urban set up here in the middle of the map. Of course, they're not looking mid anymore, so this might be a little bit of a surprise to H2k if Urban's able to come out with the first blood here. He has PD inside with him as well, looking over towards the tables. Of course, that one being looked at. Fears backed up, and I spotted one of these players as soon as he turns. That gives control of Mansion over pretty much to Infused.
This is exactly how H2k played the last defense that they lost, where Infused just shoved right up mid. Urban got a 2-piece, and Marky B was able to go back into a post-plant position on trenches. So let's see if the round plays out the same way it did before, as we have player 8, that's going to be 0, hanging back, waiting for flanks and everything. He's not just back there, sitting on his hands. He's back there trying to wash the backs of his team so they don't have to worry about any flanks. Urban's going to find a kill on Legal. This could open up an opportunity for a bomb plant because H2k sits so far back in their base. They have no nades that can come into play or anyone to stop the plant from happening.
There's one right above Urban. He's able to clean that one up. So now Dito, last one up. He's by the red van, just going to try and pick up kill here, but right now the 1v4, you see the push comes in, 0 cleans it up. We're at a tie game, 2-2.
So their defense is being read by Infused now. They know that they sit all 4 in the back of the base. They'll still send someone to watch the flank, only because they don't like to push people through bunker, just as a reassurance kind of thing. But I think it's time for H2k to switch up that defense. It's clearly not working. Fizz, I think, should stay where he's at. I think Fizz, his positioning is fine. But they might want to send some players into Mansion to just sit in a corner and wait for Infused to push up.
Because you think what's happening every time Fizzerp, of course, looks over the middle of the map. As soon as they know he is not looking, they time it out beautifully. They attack straight from the middle of the map. They take control of computers, right? And then just force their way throughout all of Mansion. They end up getting the easy control and ends up winning them rounds. Now, on the side of H2k, you have to, as you said, you have to switch that up, right? And what's been working for Infused on their defense, the one thing, Marky B holding this position because H2k has been pushing into bunker time and time again.
No, he's not pushing. He's sitting right here in this spot. He did it one time and then backed up.
Yeah,
he's playing very defensively on bunker side.
I'm saying H2k is pushing and getting control of bunker, and they're looking over it. If Marky B and Zero can really take out when a player for H2k gets a little too aggressive here, that will really help them out.
See, look, he threw that Semtex, not because he thought he'd get a kill, but he wanted to see if he could bait out someone in that corner and make him think that he wasn't looking there. So Urban, though, finding the first blood on Fizz, popping some shots right in the back of his head. PD finds another kill on Legal, who was attempting to go for the trade. And Fuse is looking pretty good so far in this S&D. 30 seconds left to tag one player up, whips the RK, 5 shots, finds the kill finally. Regardless, he had another Infused player there for the trade if he did go down. Dito does have his overdrive, but I think we're going to see him save it for the next round. And you get a decent opening push for his team. This 1v4 is looking impossible with 15 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Dito really just going to try. Might be able to pick up one kill here, but you see the setup from Infused. They're going to try and come in for the pinch very fast. Dito cleans up one, tries to get around the bar, save his life, but Marky B cleans that one up, and just like that, the second place team in Europe, Infused, goes up in game number 5 by 1 round. Great
plays coming out of the Europeans here. Definitely picking it up from what we saw in that first session. Destroy Marky B. Let's see how many kills Marky B's at right now, actually. I'm curious.
3.
Currently 3 and 2. This is better than what we saw before. We were 0 and 5 for quite some time. Certainly picking it up for the team. The Fizzerp Pharaoh is coming out. I think we can expect to see him playing around mid-map here just because of those long-range engagements, and that's where he's been for most of the map. The overdrive play gets shut down instantly. Dito coming out was not able to do anything. Zero shuts it down. So that's going to be a bit of a waste of a special stability there because nothing comes from it.
And as soon as that happens, you see Fizzerp just goes inside of the mansion, tries to set up there.
There we go, bottom mansion.
Marky
After
B.
Dito died, he had to get away from mid-map.
Yeah. And Marky B has worked his way all the way through bunker. That's going to be looked over by one H2k player. As soon as those shots are fired, just backs up. H2k going to get a little bit aggressive here. Fizzerp has worked his way here by the cut. And as soon as it looks like Zero might be able to push here, but comes right around the corner, picks up one, and I love this.
He wouldn't have gotten that with the VMP. He would not have gotten that with the VMP right there, especially with the grip band. It would have taken too long to have gotten traded. He's able to get those 2 bursts off and get away. Great positioning out of Fizzerp for those kills. The flank worked out, but Fierce is still able to get taken down by Marky B, and Fizz wins the gunfight against PD anyway inside Mansion.
This is a back and forth game just like the entire series has been so far. And, you know, we've mentioned the Pharaoh so much and how Fizzerp's been so good with it. You just pair that with what he's able to do in search and destroy, some of the play calls and everything that this H2k team is able to make. It sets him up in positions that will really help him. You think, especially on the cut, it's what we've seen time and time again from both teams, just the patient play. Go out, they're not being too greedy. They pick up one kill, and immediately as soon as that happens, they reset.
Yeah, so Paradox, look on the side of Infused. Here we have Urban, most kills in the entirety of the lobby, currently 8 and 4. What do you think is going wrong for them right now that, or not going wrong for them, but what do you think that he's doing? I didn't mean to say it like that at all. Nothing's going wrong. It's 3-3, right? Way better than the first S&D. What do you think is clicking so well for him for the team? Do you think it's positioning?
Yeah, I would say so. The positioning, the communication. Even look at this, right?
He's found so many multi-kills this game.
He's able to spot 2. It now knows that, okay, they either are in this corner or they're playing the middle of the map. They're most likely playing the middle of the map. And you see Marky B and Zero sort of reflect that, and they're looking over the B site. Now that this bomb is down, they need to be worried about Fierce, who's coming through bunker. Marky B goes in, tries to challenge.
The one time he goes in the bunker, he dies.
And look at that, just like that. H2k, Fierce picks up 1. 2 more follow very fast from Dito and Legal. Zero's the last, so now 26 seconds on the bomb. He knows that 1 is inside a bunker. He has to worry about that. He knows players in the middle of the map as well. There's really nothing he can do in this situation. Yeah. H2k take the lead in game 5.
Yeah, they just have to play that clock. He was trying to find himself 3 1v1s, but H2k was not giving it up to him. Look at him just hugging this corner. That's all he's got to do. Just keep checking the bomb. Spots him coming. Elcar 9, easy kill. The entire team was against Zero right there. There's no way he's going to clutch that. So, H2k is leading this game 4-3.
Now, going into this round, one person I do want to see. I wanted to see Fizz again. Will not have that, but PD does have the kinetic armor. So you look at some of the team composition. Zero's going to have the heat wave very soon. It looks like Legal is getting very close to kinetic armor as well. And Dino almost has the overdrive. Of course, it did not really work in his favor last time. And looks like we're going to see a lot going down around field. PD going to be in control of the bomb.
Yeah, he's got 2 plants so far. He's got 2 plants. I think both of those were on the B. No, one was on B bomb site, one was on A bomb site, because they didn't even have to plant on B when he started to. But PD's been the designated bomb carrier this game, and he's got a pretty decent record of that on their offensive rounds. One player just around the corner in driveway to deal with. I don't think they're going to be able to get this bomb down unless they take him out. Shots going down, but Legal does not want to peek. He knows there's multiple players around the corner. He's going to have to let them plant, and that's been the story for so many of H2K's defenses, is the bomb getting down and them being out of position in the back of their base. Finds 1 kill, though, gets away, and he's got access to the kinetic armor. He could stay alive in the post plant here and get a solid retake for H2K.
Dito cuts off the middle of the map, cleans up Zero, trying to pick up the second one, was taken out. 2v2 now, PD goes down. It's up to Marky B in the 1v2, 4-4 right now. Almost has Psychosis. That bomb is down. Spots one up top, able to clean that one up. Comes down, tries to find Fizzer, but just like that, Fizz cleans it up with the pistol, will get the defuse. H2K putting the stranglehold on this series.
All right, we're starting to see H2K win their defenses. It's been a bit of their weakness so far throughout this game, but switching up their setup, switching up their weapons and everything seems to be benefiting them quite a bit. And they hit their defuse as Fizzer comes through.
So let's take a look at this play once again. And you think every single time H2K was pretty much gone for a pinch. This is the one time they don't, and player from Infused turns around expecting it, and it's just on the other side. I was like, hey, you were looking the right way all along. I'm right here.
H2K has been great about pinching and bait and switching throughout both S&Ds in this series for sure, and they're looking on pace to take this series, guys. H2K Gaming is 1 round away from taking this game. Trophy system's coming out. Dito's tagged up. Oh, he's stuck with the Semtex. Takes out his teammate, though. Marky B, PD, too close for comfort there, but 2 kills still go in favor of Infused, and they still have numbers. They know where Fizzer is at. Fears is not too far from him, and they bump into each other. That could have been pretty bad.
Oh, yeah. Both plays with overdrive not helping. Now both these players,
they just shoot each other?
It looked like it for a second. I'm like, well, who in the world is getting these shots down? Fears cleans that one up. So now 2v2, H2K. Looking good so far. They can turn this into a win. Zero, though, does have the heat wave. That can spell some doom.
Marky B, though, finds a kill. Fizzer left in a 1v2. If he can clutch this, that's the end of the series, and his team goes up 1-0 in their pool. Finds one engagement, loses it, though. 2 players in front of him. Marky B is able to shut him down with the EMA. We're going into a round 10, Paradox.
So, I want to see as soon as we go into this next round what both teams really have to use, because Dito used overdrive again. Didn't work, and that's a really heads-up play. As soon as the Semtex is stuck onto you, see a player on the other team, it's like, hey, how are you? I have a Semtex on me. I'll get rid of you too.
So what's going to be important here is if we look at their special abilities, who has access to what or who's close to it, right? Legal looks like he's got access to his kinetic armor. He got that 2 rounds ago. PD also has his kinetic. Zero has his heat wave. And in the kinetic battle we saw last time on Breach Hardpoint, PD was able to get the better of Legal. We'll have to see how they execute those on this go. And it looks like Infused is going to be sending Marky B through bunker. Is he going to go inside of it, though? Doesn't matter. Fizzer finds the first blood with the Shiva coming into play. We're seeing it finally come out in round 10.
So,
just waiting for a sniper to come out. I don't think Zero sniped at all this game, has he? Or this round, this map, excuse me.
I don't think he's pulled it out. Every time we're on board with him, he hasn't pulled it out a single time.
He keeps waiting for it, though. Fizz hasn't forgotten. I guess that's just the effect of Zero snipers, huh? Sniper, huh?
Look at this. H2K has given up control of Mansion. Once again, that goes to Infuse. They're sending 3 through bunker. They're going to go all the way around. Legal's the only one that knows these players are here. They've already committed to going all the way around. Yeah, so he can stall this out as long as he needs to.
He's going to wait for his health to regen, kinetic, and then challenge, I think. Oh, no, he just lets him plant and get away. I think he just, Okay, so the call was to let H2K hit that rotation in the flank. And it looks like it might come into play here. Dito finds a kill onto Urban. Infuse has to respond here soon and find out they're getting flanked. They do find 2 kills. Zero and Marky B are the ones to do it, but Dito still alive, finds a second kill, 1 versus 2. The bomb is down. Marky B has a player in his sights. Now he has to get away. 1 player top grab. There it is. We're going to round 11. Marky B clutching it up for Infused.
Marky B, let's take a look at that one again. Isolates 1, able to clean that one up behind bar. Beautiful shots. Slides in, and at that point, exactly. At the point when he slides, I'm very worried. I'm like, this is really going to be interesting. Hits perfect shots there and forces the round 11. Infuse is not out of this one yet, and they have the utility on their side in round 11. Kinetic armor, glitch, and Psychosis on the board, and Marky B is 75 away from streaks.
Look, Fizz is on his way to his specialist ability. Legal has access to the kinetic armor. Fizz switching classes back over to the Pharaoh. No sniper coming into play here. And it looks like we have a 1-2-1 or 1-1-2 split, excuse me, as Fizzerp is over middle map with his. Look, let's see what angle is he holding. He was just looking over mid map with a Pharaoh. That's not going to be too effective against ARs here. Now Infused adopting a pretty standard just default setup around B site. The frag that came in front of Fizzerp not going to have any effect. One player just around the corner. He has heat waves. So I don't think anybody wants to be near Fizzerp right now.
He's huge to the success of H2k in this round with that heat wave, for sure.
Oh,
Leo
another nade.
well.
They know he's on site now. Now Infused has to capitalize on this. There we go. No heat wave. It's out of the question in around 11. 0 and Marky B finding kills. It's a 4 versus 2. The odds are heavily stacked in their favor in this round 11. Now 40 seconds left on the clock. Psychosis coming into play. He's got access to a dart, but I don't think we're going to see him use it. And that's the end of the round. There's the back smack. Infused wins round 11 and takes their first series of MLG Orlando.
The 6-5 win in Search and Destroy in an absolute thriller. Petey gets it done with the L-Car 9 and the smack to the side. Just hits him right in the shoulder. It's like, hey, how are you?
I'd say it was close enough to the back.
It's close enough.
He's right-handed.
Like hits him in the shoulder. You like wrap the arm around. Give him a nice tap on the back. But as you said, Infused comes out, and we were worried about them at the beginning of this series. They show up halfway through, and in a game that was going back and forth, they had the utility on their side in that round 11. They should not have lost it. They stepped up to the occasion, and they got it done in huge games from Urban and Marky B there.
I'm still not entirely convinced with this H2k roster after this series, though. I think that what we saw was a very slow start from Infused. I don't think that this is going to speak too much to how H2k is going to play throughout the rest of the tournament, but it certainly is impressive. A lot of the plays they're making in Search and Destroy were very well coordinated, and you can tell the shot calling was just on point. So that could be something that carries their success throughout this tournament.
One thing I'm worried about H2k going forward, this is a team, although we always mention they're very cerebral, this is a team that can tilt pretty easily as well. So they have to just move on from this series. They have a lot of Call of Duty to play over the weekend. When you just went against the second seed in all of Europe, right? This is one that's sort of a test for you. You force game 5. You have to see this. Although you lost, it's a bright spot on the map for you going forward, right? It shows that you are a new squad. You lost someone important in that lineup, but you can still hang.
I bet you H2K right about now wishes that 100 Thieves kept that spot, right? Oh, gosh, yeah. What a tough replacement of a matchup. It's like, oh, we're going to play 100 Thieves in our pool. No, actually, Infused is taking their spot. Really tough matchup here. H2K, though, they played very well in the Search and Destroys. The respawn certainly impressed me, especially with Legal and Fizzerp and everything. And the bans of protection they did to further tilt things in their favor. An awesome, awesome series from them. So the result of this series, guys, is going to be Infused taking it 3-2 with a complete reverse sweep, dominating fashion in the Uplink, very close overtime in the CTF, and the Search and Destroy going all the way to round 11. What started off as an H2K stomp ended in an Infused waking up and playing to their caliber and winning the series.
So up next, stay tuned. Optic Gaming in Team Caliber.
Oh,
Chance in Fox. So we bring you the action for that one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.